How come it backfires when you're trying to manage your kids the same way as you're managing your successful career? And no, this is not going to be the usual rant about work-life balance and the fact that you're exhausted when you come home at night so you don't have enough patience for your kids and energy. Of course, nobody's disputing that. For sure it's tough. But I don't have to tell you, you already realize that it takes a different skill set. It takes a different skills and ability to manage a meltdown of your colleague or your client or your boss, right? Or your business partner than what it takes when you come home and there's your 5-year-old and they would not stay in bed in their room after 10 p.m. and they keep getting out. It's a different skill set. So you have probably tried to figure it out the same way you're pushing through when something doesn't go right in your career. You're learning more, you're working harder, you're more dedicated to analyze and figure it out. And what's the logical approach? And how can I just learn more and observe more and then just push harder? Because if I just commit and if I'm disciplined enough, I'm going to figure it out no matter what. That approach got you where you are today in your career or in your business, but it does not work with the kids. Why? How come it's not enough? What is it that nobody is teaching moms? What is it that's even more important than any information that you can learn in any parenting course? And that goes even deeper than some regular mindfulness and breath work and just take a deep breath and count till 10 and all will be good. It will not. It's falling apart and you're feeling guilty because your kids are having harder and harder time and you feel like you're making it worse sometimes with your energy, while you can make it work with your successful but demanding career. And then you feel like such a failure at home. Why? So what is that one skill we are missing? And what is it that our kids need more than just management? Let's talk about it in this episode of the Zen Supermom podcast. Let me help you. Hi, Supermom. I'm Elena, the founder of Zen Supermom, where we help busy but loving moms stop swinging between being too nice and then when it doesn't work, being too strict, so that you can finally enjoy that connection with your kids. And you have some fun as well, because you deserve that and you deserve to be proud of what a wonderful mom you are for your kids, right? And so then this episode is meant to help you with that, because I realized it's inspired by my own personal journey and then also the stories of moms I work with, because I realized there are lots of similar patterns and coincidences. It's more or less the same thing. So if you are a mom who is so successful in your career, you're used to pushing hard through obstacles and difficult situations. You're used to not giving up and working hard for what you want. You have so much commitment, you have so much dedication. You're paying attention to detail. You're not afraid of learning new things. And this is coming, I'm just thinking of our clients. We have lawyers, architects, teachers, therapists, moms who are owners of small businesses. Most of us are expatriates, so we know how hard it is to try to make it in a country with different culture, very often also different language, where we don't fit in and we have to build everything from scratch. So we are not afraid of hard work, right? And most often, like, you have so many skills, you have built so much resilience, so much stress resistance. And even though, yes, it's taking some toll because it is heavy, you have a lot on your shoulders, because especially if you're an expatriate, you probably don't have like grandmas and aunties on standby whenever your kids are on holidays or they get sick. Like, you have to figure it out by yourself, but you're not scared of that. Like, first of all, let me give you kudos. Are you giving yourself pat on the back often enough for how much you're actually doing? And how many obstacles have you already overcome? Like, just look back at your last 10 years. All of the moms that I speak to, they're so fantastic in their commitment and dedication and hard work, and they're not giving themselves enough credit. On the contrary, they're usually beating themselves up for not being good enough. And usually where that shows up is with the kids. Yeah. And so in this podcast episode, I want to have a look at why. And I want you to look underneath, because this might not apply to you, but if it will, it's going to be a aha moment. Yeah. Because the thing I realized, what was killing me as a mom, and my self-confidence actually in being a good mom, I realized I was trying to apply the same skills, approach, and kind of like a management style, not just at work or then at my business, but also then to my daughter when I was trying to manage her and situations when she was not cooperating, not listening, or she had a hard time. Because what got me success in my career, I was like, well, those are my strong skills. So I'm just going to do the same thing, right? That's how we manage obstacles, by analyzing the problem, by trying to learn more, trying to practice new skills, by being focused on like those rational explanations and controlling planning in advance to make sure that you're taking out risks from situations, by being detailed oriented so that you can remove any tiny risks as well along the way, and by being a high achiever so that you can get a lot done, because as a mom you're not in control of your schedule, you have even longer to-do lists, so you need to be in a quick pace to get it all done, to feel like at the end of the day you deserve to rest. Correct? Is that you? Because that used to be me. That's why I'm describing it with such detail, because that's exactly what my approach to life was before I became a mom. And like logically, naturally, I just thought, okay, well, but that's just what I will keep doing. Now that I'm a mom, I actually have to even pump it up. All of this that I was doing before, I have to get even better at controlling, perfecting, hyperachieving, over rationalizing and over explaining, because now the stakes are even higher than I became a mom. So I have to amp it up and I have to do even better with these things. Right. But have you ever done that? Have you ever tried to manage your kids the same way you manage your employees, colleagues, your boss, or your clients? Have you ever tried to do that with your kids? Yeah, probably not going to work, right? So why? It's not because you need more parenting techniques, because if you're so smart, that's exactly what you probably try to do, right? Try to listen to more podcasts, try to read more parenting books, try to get more parenting courses so that you learn and you learn and learn and you absorb the information. You're making notes, maybe you're even journaling about it, maybe you're taking them some mindfulness and like mindfulness coaching and coaching for your emotions, like breath work, and so that you don't stress so much. And that's fantastic. Please, if you're doing that, I'm not like making fun of you or anything. I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. I have a lot of appreciation for you and a lot of what's the right word I'm looking for? A lot of respect for you, because you're trying to problem solve. You're trying to troubleshoot, like, what is it? And it is a lot of puzzle pieces together. So you're trying to solve them one by one. However, why I'm talking about this here? Because that's exactly what most of the moms who come to me for help with still like losing patience with their kids, snapping, yelling, and then feeling so guilty, maybe sometimes even having rough hands with them. That's what everybody already did. I just made a reel for Instagram the other day when I took like a huge pile, what was it, like over 700 assessments I've done over the last few years. That's what, with the exception of 9 of these women, everybody already did parenting courses. About half of them even did therapy, because they thought, well, I'm the problem, like I'm messed up, I don't know what's wrong with me. So they were going to a talk therapy, they were having a burnout coach at work, because some of them were already losing it, but none of that was working for them. And they were completely lost, because like, what am I going wrong? Like, I can't keep pushing harder. I already have so much discipline. There are moms who are even waking up at 5 a.m. so that they wake up before the kids get up, so that they have time for their meditation and for their journaling, which is, again, it's mind-blowing to me. This is fantastic. But even that was not working for them, because then the kids wake up grumpy, like poking each other and teasing each other, not in a nice way. They refuse to eat breakfast. They're like, nah, 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 nah. And then the mom is like, what the heck, guys? I woke you up with enough time. I prepared your bags. I prepared your snacks. I even prepared your clothes. And you cannot even have a nice time together during breakfast. And we are still late. Like, what the hell? Like, I'm doing everything I can and it's not enough. Like, what's wrong with me or what's wrong with you guys? Like, I have no clue anymore. Right? So these moms are like extremely frustrated. So if that's you, like, please know you're not alone. There's nothing wrong with you. And also, there's nothing wrong with your kids. It is actually logical and normal, the fact that your success strategy that worked for your career is not working at home. Why not? Why not? Do you already know why it's not working? Because this is where we need to start looking underneath what's going on. And I would invite you, without forcing you into any childhood therapy, that's not the point here, but I just want you to take it, either think back when you were little, because that usually helps you think from the perspective of your child. What I'm trying to do here is to see it and feel it. It's time to stop analyzing and it's time to start feeling into it. How does it feel like from the perspective of your children? And usually you can't do that now because you feel resentful. You feel like, I've already done so much for them, so they should be grateful. So when you're trying to think about the situation from your kids' perspective, you're feeling like, no, I'm already doing for them so much more than my parents did. I'm already giving them so many more hugs. I'm telling them I love them every single day. Nobody did that for me. I'm already much more nicer, less demanding for them than my parents ever did, because they were so strict with such high expectations, and they were just giving me scowls whenever I didn't have A+, or whenever I would have a bad mood, they would send me back to my room. I don't do that with my kids. So how come they are not responding the way they should? Yeah. So usually when I'm trying to help moms, like, the first step is not to like think from your child's perspective, because if you would do it right now with this mindset, you would feel like, freaking no, I have no clue what's going on with them, because they should be happy they have such an amazing mom. I'm doing already everything and so much better than my parents. So that's why, just as a perspective shift, not to do any like trauma therapy on your childhood and blame your parents for anything, but think back. How were your mornings going? Like, if morning time is a challenge right now, or if bedtime routine is a problem, like, think about that. How did you feel around your parents, especially if they were trying to manage you as a problem or as a situation to solve? Or if they were trying to kind of like analyze your behavior. Maybe that's even the best case scenario, because in most of the cases when I speak to moms, like, nobody even cared about the kids' emotions. Like, the parents just like, pfft, just like with my parents, like, are you getting angry and crying? Like, no, go away, come back when you're nice and you can listen again and you can be grateful, because there's nothing you should be upset about. You should be grateful right now. So get out of here, because I don't want to be looking at your ugly face. Kind of like, those were not the exact words, but that's the message. That was the message underneath. So how did you feel growing up? And again, this is not a trigger to beat up your parents. Absolutely not. Get that out of your head. We are dropping into your body when you were little. Because I want you to realize, what was the thing you were missing the most? This is the question I want you to chew on. What were you missing the most from your parents when you were little? It just gives me the chills already. And I'm not saying that to make you upset, but I want you to drop into your body and feel it. And I know it's hard, because most of the times, if you're so smart and so successful, you're trying not to feel. And I know I was doing the same. I was just trying to stay in my head, analyze, and like data, information, structures, theories, abstract. Like, no, don't feel, because that's not fun. That's not comfortable. Talking about the past doesn't solve anything, because I can't change the past. Let's move forward. Let's be positive and optimistic. I don't want to think back about any old pain, because it's behind me. It will just make me sad and weak. And I don't want to drown in the pain, because it's not safe. Let me just go forward. And I'm doing so much better than my parents. Blah, 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 blah. I can hear you. Yes, I'm not, by saying blah, blah, I'm not making fun of you, but I'm just saying, like, I've heard that story so often in my head that I learned to turn it into blah, blah, blah so that I don't give it the power again. But I want you to feel underneath. Because what is it that you were missing the most with your parents? If you're like most of my clients and me, most likely you were feeling the connection. You were missing the connection. You were missing the feeling that you're enough just the way you are. That they love you for who you are without you needing to change your behavior, change how you look or who you are, what you say. And you were most likely missing the safe kind of like container, feeling safe to feel emotions because you could not trust your feelings. Because when you would give in to your feelings when you were little, when you would give in to your anger or frustration, you were shamed, punished, or judged for that. Or you were just like shut down because your parents were not like emotionally present for you. Maybe they were not even there when you were upset because it was either your grandma, it was a teacher. Your parents didn't have time for you. Okay. But this is most often the case. What we missed, most of us, if you're still listening to this podcast, chances are high it's you too. We missed safe attachment, if I put it this way. We missed connection and feeling loved unconditionally. And we missed the feeling of like, it is safe for me to what I feel because I can express it and my parents will help me make sense out of it and they will help me feel better. Like that's what I wish somebody did for me when I was growing up. Instead, I was punished and judged. And so that taught me I cannot trust my emotions. I have to hide them. I have to kind of like put them behind the wall, lock them in some dark room because that's the monster in me. That's the part that nobody loves. Like if I'm angry with somebody, if I say no, if I'm not friendly enough, if I'm not likable enough, then people will not like me. They will not want to be with me. So I felt like I had to hide a part of myself. Because if people would figure it out, if I let them come too close to me and they will see this part of me, they will like, whoa, and they will want to run away. They will not want to do anything with me. So that's what the effect of my upbringing was. And again, I'm nothing but grateful to my parents. I don't blame them for anything because they did the best they could with what they knew. Like back then, the traditional parenting, it was just all about managing the kids, making sure they have things to eat, they have a like dry, clean bed, and they have clean clothes so that when they go to school, nobody is going to judge the family. That was, and if people managed to do that, that was already success. Yeah, because most of us grew in like whatever post-communist, post-war times where it was all about survival. So I don't blame my parents. They honestly, I believe they did the best they could. But managing the basic biological needs, it is amazing. And unfortunately, not all the kids in the world have that luxury of having two parents and having their biological needs met. So I am grateful for having had that growing up. But that's just the first part. What we were missing is for our emotional needs to be met and having healthy role models on how to manage those emotions. Because I want to make very clear distinction here. This is not about just for the sake of your kids feeling heard and feeling safe with you to express any emotions. This is not about you letting them have a 2-hour tantrum in the middle of a shopping mall or have them like kill their siblings because they're so jealous and they want back their toy. I'm not saying this is permissive parenting and you should let your child be the boss of the home. Absolutely not. But this is why it's so difficult to navigate, I believe. That's just my conviction. Because there are no books for this. There are no trainings for this. Like nobody teaches that to moms. Where is that line between making your kids feel heard, making them feel loved unconditionally, and then still setting healthy boundaries? And being the leader, being the emotional leader and role model of your home. Yes, because nobody showed that to us. So of course we are struggling and we are swinging between being too nice and then too strict and then trying to just go at it like we are going at it with our hard lives, like trying to just muscle through, try harder, learn more books, like learn more theory, and just discipline and practice and focus and let's figure it out rationally. It doesn't work because this is not rational, this is emotional. And if you grew up feeling like your emotions are not safe, you cannot trust them, you don't know how to manage them, you don't know how to express them in a safe way, then most often what will happen is you're swallowing your emotions, you're trying to hide them under the carpet, but then your kids are usually the one who's the best at pulling that carpet out, right? Kids are always the best in knowing exactly what button to trigger, correct? And of course that's true on when you're at the end of your like super busy exhausting day at work, but it's most likely true even on your relaxing weekend, even when you're on holidays with them for 2 weeks, it's still pushing you. So that shows you it's not about because you don't have enough time to spend with them. It's not about you being too exhausted from work. This is really, they're pushing us so hard because they do give us a mirror. They show you the emotions. They feel so open to express at the beginning as babies. Babies don't feel any guilt for whining, crying, being like clingy, or being upset. They have no filter when they are born. They just show it the way it is. But for a mom who grew up feeling like it's not okay to be angry, and why are you clingy? Stop crying like a little girl. You're a boy. You should man up. It's like, then we don't know. They are giving us the mirror of emotions we are feeling as well, but we had to suppress it. Yeah. That's why it's so challenging. Because at work, you can make it with your rational brain, with your super smart mind. That's enough. Unless you're a leader of people, unless you need to manage a team, then also you have probably figured out just like managing task lists and projects and things to get done, it's often not enough because there's a human underneath who's doing the work. So this is actually the skill that will help you get much better with your kids. It's going to help you get a better leader at work as well. Yeah. But am I hitting the point here for you? Why is it so hard to actually face your kids and help them with challenging, difficult, stressful situations when there's time pressure, when their emotions are running high? Because they are giving you that emotional mirror and you don't know what to do with your emotions. So as I said, most often you will try to swipe it on the carpet. And then what happens is when it becomes too much, you're exploding. And so then your kids get the pinnacle of it. It's like some moms express it as like, I feel like a volcano, like a hot lava coming out of me. And then there are moms who feel so guilty for doing that they don't even allow themselves to, I say sometimes, emotionally vomit their unexpressed emotions and their like overwhelming rage and frustration. They don't allow themselves to do that, and they do it inwards. They feel the frustration. They still feel the intense heat of this is not fair, and why is it happening to me, and I should have more help, and why are other people not doing enough, and why is this, like, it feels like a personal attack when things are not going well with your kids, right? And there are moms who lock this inside, and then it literally makes them sick. I did not do stats on this, but in like how I'm remembering or how these stories go in these personal assessments, it's at least a third of the moms who reach out to me, they already have some kind of either chronic disease, autoimmune disease, unfortunately very often also cancer just before or after. Absolutely, there's always a burnout. Like in most of these cases when they're physically sick, like burnout comes with it as well. And there's been already a lot of research on that done. It is because of the suppressed anger. That's the thing that actually, that's the starter, and that's the fuel of the problems in the body. That's been already proven by research. Okay. So that's why this is so critical. That's why I will talk about it and I will not shut up until, I don't care if there's only one person listening to me right now. If it's you who need to hear it, then I'm here for you. Okay. And also for kids, because this generational cycle of squishing emotions and trying to swipe them under the carpet and just muscling through with your smart brain, like that generational cycle needs to be finished. Because otherwise, not only it's killing you with your kids right now, which you already know, but you can imagine what's going to happen to your kids 20, 30 years from now. How are they going to do in their job? How are they going to, if they become parents one day themselves? They will probably try to do better than you, just like you're doing better than your parents. But is that going to be enough? Or are they going to be sitting in front of somebody like me 20, 30 years later, feeling guilty, feeling like I'm failing as a mom, I'm a terrible mom, I'm so ashamed that I can't even tell anybody, because if they would find out, they would want nothing to do with me because I'm putting such a perfect facade for everybody to see. But behind it, I actually feel like such an imposter, such a fake mom, because I'm absolutely losing it with my kids. Yeah, that's how I used to feel 8 years ago. Yeah. And there was nobody. There was nobody who would. I tried to look for podcasts and stuff. There was nobody talking about this. It was all focused on the kids. Like, if your kids are disobedient, do this. I read so many Montessori books, and Dr. What's her name? Shifali Itzbari. I'm sorry if I'm messing up the name. It's been a while that I read the books. I respect her, and I respect all of the parenting experts, and it was very useful for me to learn the theory because I didn't know how to do it better than my parents. So I needed some better examples, but it was not enough because I could not apply any of this because of this emotional like clash with my daughter. I did not know how to resolve these emotionally charged situations because I was never learned how to do that. Okay. So now this podcast episode, super transparent. I'm going to tell you because there are, just so that you have an insight, like inside my brain right now, okay? Because I don't want to keep you in the pain. The purpose of this podcast episode was not just to like tell you, okay, you're in really bad situation and this is why. I want to give you the solution. But then also, like, there's a part of me struggling with now making it feel like a sales page because I don't want to sell anything. There are probably more ways on how to do that, but the way how I do it with my clients is mental fitness. This is what helped me. I was my client zero of my own. That's usually what they say. It's true for all of the psychologists and therapists, right? Because they wanted to understand themselves and not get so messed up. So that's why they went into studying that as a profession. Well, I'll be completely transparent. This is exactly how I like left my corporate career and human resources and like leadership coaching, and how I became a mental fitness coach for busy moms because I felt like not only I wanted to get better, but I really wanted to save somebody the time. It took me 2 years to figure it out. It was really trial and error. I can honestly say, those were the two most awful years of my life because I just felt the worst of myself. Like, that was my self-esteem, my self-worth was at the lowest because I felt like, what am I doing? If I can't feel like I'm taking care of my daughter emotionally, if I'm not having fun with my daughter, if I feel like I need to survive the motherhood, if I feel really that I can love my daughter only when I'm looking at her when she's already sleeping finally at night, like, there's something wrong with me. So that's why I'm doing this, because if you are feeling this way, I know how horrible it is. And I want you to stop wasting time on things that are not going to work, because that is going to just like lower your self-confidence and self-esteem even further down the drain, which is what was happening with me, right? So that's why I'm trying to find a way, and it's clumsy, but I'm trying to find a way how to talk about mental fitness, because that is honestly the thing that helps me. And it's been part of this practice of mental fitness, has been part of the Zen Superman program for years. And what I'm doing now is testing, because especially for moms like me who had a happy childhood, you might not need more than this. You might not need more than practicing this emotional awareness, practicing the skill of staying calm when the emotions are running high. because it's a different skill than just, and it's a different feeling than just doing a meditation or doing yoga, which are amazing. I'm doing all of this. But the thing that made the biggest difference for me was understanding these emotions. Because before I did not understand what I was feeling. I did not understand that how come my project management skills that was so great at work, my like me being organized, me trying to look at the day like what comes next and how can I prepare for that? How can I like prevent any, how do I talk about it? Like how do I, when I was, for example, what I have in mind, the example is now getting ready to go out with my daughter, right? So it was great like to use my project management skills, because when you go out with a small baby or a toddler, you have to anticipate like anything can happen. They can get sick, they can get hungry, thirsty, they can get dirty, they can get cold or too hot. So you're trying to think in advance so that you're prepared. Yes? And so that's a great skill to have. This is where my professional career and all of my skills and experience that paid off. But what I was missing as a mom, and what I realized when I did that little exercise with you, like what is it that you were missing with your parents the most? I realized what I was missing the most is not just like the material preparedness, but I was missing the skills to connect with my daughter. Yes. Because that's where that project management attitude, which underneath was really like trying to control the situation, anticipate, because I felt not safe when things were not in control. What helped me the most through mental fitness was that I understood how it backfired emotionally. The project management, the controlling, it backfired emotionally, because then what was practically happening in that scenario, if I continue with this example of getting ready to go out, I did not see my daughter. What I was focused on, what my rational mind was focused on, was that to-do list and trying to anticipate any possible scenario so that when we go out, my daughter has a good time. But what I was completely missing was the fact that for my daughter to have a good time, she doesn't need a mom who's prepared for 100 possible different scenarios. She needs a mom who's there with her, who's present, who's connected, who sees her. Because even though I was there physically with my daughter on the playground, sitting, either watching her play or even playing with her. But she could feel the difference between when I was in my head thinking about the next step and then the next thing we need to be doing, looking at the time like, okay, we need to leave now because otherwise we will not have enough time for me to like cook and clean, and then your dad comes home and then you'll be too tired and you'll be already cleaning, whining, so we have to actually go now. I was in my head constantly. I was looking at the clock. I was in my head going through the schedule, the timelines, the to-do list, trying to combine everything to be a very efficient, effective manager. But I was not there with her. Because this is something that I forgot. I felt like all these parenting techniques, it makes it feel like the kid is the smaller, more stupid, emotionally immature human being. They have no idea what they're doing, so you need to teach them everything. But let me tell you something. Kids are not stupid. Did you notice? They can read energy. Just like you. When is the last time you sat across somebody at a restaurant or like just having a meal and you could tell the difference? They were looking at you or at something and you knew they're not paying attention. You knew they were in their head either getting ready to tell you their story or what they thought about their opinion, or they were completely like they were out, even though they were looking at you. You can tell, right? You can tell when somebody is looking at you. You can tell, are they really listening to me? Are they really seeing me? Or are they somewhere else? Like, are they busy in their own head? You can tell. And so here's the surprise. If nobody told you, if you didn't realize, kids understand this too, even babies. And logically, it makes sense, right? Because they are born not understanding the language. Maybe they heard you talk even when they were in your womb. They heard you speak some words. They recognize your tone of voice. What they recognize the most is your energy. And as soon as they get out and they can open their eyes and they can focus a little bit, because you know that in the first few weeks they cannot even focus too much because the brain and the eye is not developed enough. But the moment they lock eyes with you, and I don't know in how many months that is, they start feeling you. And by the way, even before they cannot really see you, I think they can feel the energy. And that's what makes the difference. They are not stupid. They might not understand that if they run too fast, they will end up in front of a bus in the middle of the street. They might not understand consequences and like how this world works, but they understand how you feel, because that's how they are wired. This is their survival mechanism. For a human baby to survive, the key is their mother. Because unlike whatever animals who can just pop out and poop and they can start running around and they off you go, because otherwise a tiger would eat you, human babies are not this way. They need a lot of care, they need a lot of attention, they need somebody to make sure they survive, to feed them, to keep them warm, because human babies are completely like clueless. They cannot take care of themselves. They're completely dependent. And that's why their survival mechanism is to attach to the person who's supposed to ensure their survival. And for that person to caretaker, to actually do that hard job of waking up several times at night and feeding them and everything, that's why like there's a research on it. That's why the babies, they're so cute. Because they very quickly, they start learning that if they smile at you, you smile back and your energy, kids, babies are so smart. They're so smart. Or this is the beginning. That's why babies are so cute. That's why they smile so much. Because if you give them a smile every time they smile at you, they realize like, oh, now I know how to work this human. Now I know how to get food faster. Now I know how to get more hugs. So no, this is not a straightforward parallel. Like I wish my 14-year-old would be smiling at me more or giving me more hugs. That's not the thing. But the connection here is our kids are wired to our nervous system and they respond to it. And that's why, back to my playground getting ready to go out example, if you're in your head, if all you focus on is the to-do list so that you manage your day and you manage your child to prevent tantrums, to prevent them getting upset, then all they feel from you is the busy, blah, 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 in your head. That's what they feel. And they don't feel the connection to you in that moment. And what they make it mean about themselves is exactly what you made it mean when you were growing up. I'm not enough for my parents. I need to change who I am, because the way I am right now, it's like they are not connecting with me. So it means I'm not worthy. There's something wrong with me. That's the message your kids are getting. And that's what any good parenting coach will tell you. That's what they are reacting to. And I'm not saying it's your fault if they're having like a jealous tantrum, if they're clingy, or it can be anything else. It can be something physical with them. It can be what happened in the daycare earlier in the day. However, you're not the fault. You're not the cause of their discomfort, not always, but you are the key. You are the only person who can help them with that. You are. Because just like somebody should have told us and taught us when we were little, it's you who can teach your child how to manage their emotions, how to make sense out of it, how to feel safely attached, how to feel connected to you and loved unconditionally. It's up to you to lead. This is emotional leadership. That's the skill. And that's why I love mental fitness so much. It's emotional leadership. Because only at that point you realize whatever negative emotions your child is showing to you. Remember, like we talked about the mirror, that they are mirroring to you what you don't know how to handle. This is the moment when you start understanding emotions, not as something threatening, something unsafe, but you start understanding what's underneath the emotion. And the emotion is no longer a threat, it's a clue. It's an indication. It's like, aha. So now I know what's going on. Yes? That's what will give you the clue of why your child is saying no. That's what's going to help you understand why your child is being jealous, even though you just spent half an hour with them. And now you need to go make a dinner, right? It will give you an understanding what's going on for them. And this is also the reason why I'm not a parenting coach, because there is not one right answer. I could try and tell you why your kids are misbehaving during lunchtime, why they are having such a difficult time to get out of the door in the morning. I could give you here some like theories. I could give you some examples of moms I work with. Most often, what was it for them? But it might be totally different for you. You are the best parenting expert for your kids because you are the only one who knows the full context. And that's, by the way, why while I use AI for my like back office work, I do not use AI for my one-on-one work, for like the real help I give to my clients, and why I do not recommend that you use AI to ask questions like, how do I deal with my child in this situation? Because you can never tell AI the full context that only you know from your experience. You know your kids for how long? How many years? How can you feed all of that into AI so that AI can take that into consideration when spitting out an answer for you? You can't. And it's not just the history on your child, it's the entire context of the situation. There can be a mom of a picky eater, like, how do I make my kid eat more veggies? Most of the time, the food, if we use this example, the food is not about the food. It's not about eating. Most of the kids who have problems with any eating disorders or any mealtime struggles, it's not about the food. It's a control. It's an emotion. And most often, the meal times is the only way how kids can have some control, because why you can force them to wear this type of pants, or you can force them to get out of home at this time because you literally drag them and buckle their seatbelt in the car. You cannot force them to eat because then they can vomit back. This is the only place where kids can have control. And that's going back to control, like controlling moms who are too much project managers, who are trying to anticipate and be on time, managing big schedules, managing big to-do lists. This is usually what the response of the kids is. So yes, go ahead. Look at parenting techniques on how to create cute little, like on Pinterest, I saw it, like how to create cute little layout on your kids' plate so that they finally start eating more veggies and fruits. Go ahead. But what you're completely missing is underneath. Why did they stop in the first place? Why were they not open in the first place? And again, it's not because it's your fault because you messed up something, but because you missed the opportunity to guide them emotionally. Like most of the things our kids struggle with are the root of all the problems. It's in the emotions, it's the emotional space. They don't know how to handle stress. They don't know how to have healthy friendships. So then they are getting into toxic, abusive relationships with bullies, right? There's so many different struggles your kids can have, but it always boils down underneath the emotional layer, the resilience, the understanding of what their emotions mean. And then how to deal with people who are having big emotions, to try to dump it on them, who are bullying them emotionally, right? That's where it all boils down to, this emotional leadership. And that's why it's such an important skill for you to practice, so that then you can teach it by example to your kids. Not because you're starting to preach, not because you're looking through the book and just showing them this is anger, this is jealousy. Yeah, right. For a 3-year-old, that's a great start, but it's not going to be enough for a 13-year-old, is it? Yes? The skills of emotional leadership, that's something we need to practice because our parents could never teach us. Not blaming them, just saying what it is. But that's why this, I believe, in my experience, personal and professional, is the number one missing skill for most of the parents today. And that's why I'm here. That's why I will never shut up about it. That's why I want you to know that you're very courageous, very brave. And this already shows me how much you care about your kids, because you are open to it and you are open to understanding and realizing, like, oh, holy moly. Oh, yes. Okay, good. So For those of you who would like to know more, I have so many podcast episodes. And also, we are going to link below a page where you can sign up for a priority list. Right now, I'm running the mental fitness as a beta for already my existing email list and people who have been working with me for a while. We are testing it as a self-study option because I know how busy you are. You don't have time for one-on-ones and group calls and whatever. Like, you want to do things at your own pace, few seconds a day, few seconds at a time. Then that's what the mental fitness gym is for. We are running it as a beta. I'll be opening it again at the end of the summer. So if you want to be the first notified when we open the door and learn more information about what it is, how it works, what is the investment, what is the time needed, then sign up for this priority list and you're going to get more information over email. Sounds good? In the meantime, keep me posted. Let me know, what is your story? Did I hit it? Like, did it resonate? Is it too similar to mine and my clients? Or is it completely different? Let me know as well. So then maybe the next episode podcast I create will be for you and moms like you. Yeah. In either way, I want to leave you with really making you feel my appreciation. Because this is really more than just a job for me. This is much more than just business or profession. I honestly care and I want to save time and all that emotional pain that I went through. That's why I'm here. So if it helped you today, then my job is done. You deserve to appreciate yourself. You really have a lot of courage, and I know how difficult it is to admit. It's like, oh shoot, so you tell me that I've tried so hard, like my 1000%, and it's not enough? No, it is more than enough, and this actually will help you release some pressure. You don't have to keep trying, pushing harder. You don't have to study more. You don't have to blame yourself for anything. None of this is your fault. I'm just trying to show you there might be another way if this is what you resonated with. Good. Excellent. I wish you a great summer, Supermom. This is our last podcast episode before I do what I preach and I take my time off and my holidays. So stay in touch, binge any previous podcast episodes we did, especially the last ones are exactly about these topics, and sign up for the priority list so that then we can talk more about your own mental fitness practice. Great. Take very good care, Supermom. See you later.